Hello BookTube, this is my July book haul. I picked up 22 books this month, so let's get started. The first 3 books are manga. I picked up the first 2 volumes of Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle by Clamp. Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is a shonen manga series that features variations on the protagonists of Clamp's earlier and most famous work, Cardcaptor Sakura, in a world-hopping adventure. I read the first few volumes of Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle about a decade or so ago and really enjoyed it, but I never finished it, and that's bugged me ever since, and I'm really looking forward to trying to finish it. I also picked up Magi Volume 2 by Shinobu Ohtaka. This volume continues the adventures of Aladdin and Alibaba in a world inspired by the Middle East and the 1001 Nights. If I'm sounding a little bit down in this video, it's because I've tried to film this video an inordinate amount of times today. It's well over 10 times have I've tried to film this video, and it's not really coming together, I think, because I'm also a bit pressed for time because I want to finish the book I'm reading, and I have about 90 pages, so yeah. But I want to give these books their full attention. So it's, yeah. So we'll see how this version goes. If I don't end up doing that, I'll just, I think, leave a list of all the books in a weekly reads, but we'll see. So the next few books I'm going to try to do in the order in which I picked them up, which is going to be difficult because I've tried to film this video quite a number of times. So first up is Empire's Crossroads, A New History of the Caribbean by Carrie Gibson. This is a history of the Caribbean from the, probably will go earlier than the late 15th century, but largely from the late 15th century to the 21st century. And I picked this up from Book Depository, largely because the cover is much better than the American. And the Caribbean is one of the geographic areas that I'm focusing on for my global history project. The next book I picked up is a release from Amazon. Well, it's not a release from Amazon. I picked it up from Amazon. It was a pre-order, and that is The Brilliant Abyss, exploring the majestic hidden life of the deep ocean and the looming threat that impels it, by Helen Scales. I've been wanting to add to my science collection, which I have a very, very paltry one so far. And I'm thinking this book will fit in nicely, particularly if the focus is on biology. I really want to read some biology. The next 3 books came from Alibris, and Alibris itself. So Alibris is a used bookstore sort of aggregate site that brings together a number of independent sellers. But one of these sellers is also Alibris itself, who usually sell newer books, or they're new, listed as new, probably remainders. And if you buy $39 worth of books from them, they'll give you free shipping as well. So of the 3 books I picked up from Alibris itself, they are The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee by David Truer, This is a history of Native America from 1890 to the present. I read this book early in 2019 and really enjoyed it. And it also made it rather far into the BookTube Prize in 2020, the nonfiction section. And I've been wanting to reread it for a while, and I'm quite happy to have it back in my collection. Or in my collection. I originally read the first... okay. I originally read it from the library. Okay. So the second book I picked up is Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. This is a book I've been wanting to read for a while, and is rather famous now for being the biography of Alexander Hamilton that inspired the musical Hamilton, which I have never seen. I also picked up Victoria the Queen by Julia Baird. In addition to my global history project, I'm also wanting to bolster my royalty biographies, particularly of British monarchs, but other monarchs as I can find them, and Queen Victoria is definitely high on that list. The next books I picked up are from Book Depository. There was a 10% coupon, and I used it to pick up two books. First up is Unruly Waters, How Mountain Rivers and Monsoons Have Shaped South Asia's History by Sunil Amrith. This has been on my Book Depository wish list for a while, and I'm very happy to finally have it. And South Asia, Southeast Asia, and India are two other regions, in addition to the Caribbean, that I'm really interested in picking up histories from. I also picked up Dictatorland by Paul Kenyon. This is a history of the various dictators that have ruled in Africa. It's from Head of Zeus Books, which is a publisher new to me, but a number of their upcoming publications will be making their way here in the next few months. I went on a bit of a binge with Head of Zeus. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. Africa is another area that I'm really looking for histories from or about. And Dictatorland will probably make an appearance later on tonight in Weekly Reads. The next book I picked up is also about an African dictator, and this is from Amazon, or I got it from Amazon. And this is Idi Amin, the story of Africa's icon of evil by Mark Leopold. So this is a biography of Idi Amin, who was the dictator of Uganda from the late 60s into the 70s. And I've really been wanting to read more about him for a while. The next four books are from Owls through a Libris. So Owls is one of those independent booksellers who use a Libris. Usually their books are really cheap and affordable, although the quality can be quite varying, as we shall see. The first book from this particular order I got was the Red Hourglass Knives of the Predators by Gordon Grice. This is a work of nature writing that explores a number of common predators, including the black widow. There's also brown recluse, tarantula, praying mantis, and a number of others. I've read this book a few times from my library, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've wanted to add it to my collection. So I made the conscious decision to buy it this month, and ended up having to buy it twice. The first time I bought it, the order didn't go through, or the order went through, it's just I got the wrong book, which I'm not going to haul. So I reordered it through Owls and picked this up. It is a used library copy from Pierce County Library in... Let's see if it will tell me where Pierce is. No, it does not. Anyway. Oh yeah, quite happy to have it. I also picked up Physics of the Impossible by Michio Kaku. This is a book that explores the feasibility of various scientific advancements featured in science fiction. I've read this a number of times and really enjoyed it, so I'm happy to have it in my collection at last. I also picked up 2 other biographies of royals, both Queen Regnants as well. First up is Katherine the Great by Robert K. Massie. This is a biography of Katherine the Great. And I have been interested in Katherine the Great for ages. I want to say a biography of Katherine the Great was the first or second biography I ever read when I was in junior high, so about 12. I remember reading a biography of Katherine the Great and Elizabeth I. And I am really interested in picking up a biography of Elizabeth I as well. And the second, speaking of Elizabeth, I picked up a biography of her older sister Mary. This is Mary Tudor, Princess Bastard Queen by Anna Whitelock. Which I read a few years ago and really enjoyed, and I'm quite happy to add it to my collection. So, the next 4 books are from the Princeton University Press. So, a few weeks ago, I got an email from Princeton University Press that they were having a summer sale, 50% off most of the books in their catalog. Which in the sale lasted 2 weeks. No, I think the sale actually only lasted a week. So the day after I got the email, I jumped on it and ordered 4 books. Obviously, I would have ordered more, but my book budget was newt. Of course, that I have 3 more books after this one. Me and my book budget don't get along. Just don't tell my mom. Anyway, so the 4 books I picked up from the University of Princeton are Empires of Vice, The Rise of Opium Prohibition Across Southeast Asia by Diana S. Kim. So this is a history of colonial attempts to suppress opium after they encouraged the use of opium. Yeah. Next up is Empires of the Week by J.C. Sharman. This is a book that takes a radically different approach to the interpretation of colonialism, and I'm quite looking forward to getting to it. And I've been wanting this book for a while. The next 2 are also books that I've wanted for quite a while, and they're also ancient histories, although obviously Empires of the Week is about the 19th century. These 2 are ancient. The first one is a Roman book. It is Pantheon, A New History of Roman Religion by Jorg Rupke. And this is a massive look at Roman religion, from the native Roman religion up through the various mystery religions and religions of conquered peoples that influenced Roman religion and threatened to replace it, including eventually Christianity. And I've been wanting this book for ages. I'm quite happy to have it. And next, and the final book from the University of Princeton is one that I'm really excited to have, and that is In the Land of a Thousand Gods, A History of Asia Minor in the Ancient World by Christian Marek. one of my favorite areas of history, and one of those areas that I'm most excited about, is ancient Anatolia, particularly the history of the Hittites. And I'm thrilled to finally have this book in my collection. I've wanted it for ages, or years. I mean, it's a relatively new release, so ages is probably a bit of an exaggeration, but I've wanted it ever since I first saw it. I'm really looking forward to getting to it. The next book is some fiction. I finally got some fiction. It comes from Powell's, the wonderful bookstore in Portland, Oregon, that I love. This is the Big Book of Science Fiction, edited by Ann and Jeff Vandermeer. I wanted this book for a while, and I took the New Worlds November, the BookTube reading event created by the Bookish Bryants, in which participants will be reading science fiction short stories throughout the month of November, as the kick in the pants to pick this book up at long last. Now I have one more to pick up. So the next two books, the last two, I picked up from Book People in Austin, the famed independent bookstore, and they're both poetry collections. First up is Philip Larkin, and collected poems by Philip Larkin, and poems by Elizabeth Bishop. I remember quite liking both poets' work, and I'm looking forward to getting to them. So I will, so that was my July book haul. I'm not going to try to do a Steve Pyramid because I've got so many, and they'll probably bury me. And so I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and get this loaded up and get these books on the shelves. And then hopefully I will have enough time to finish off The Fall of the Ottomans. I am loving it, and I will mostly gush about it in weekly reads, which will be here in a few hours. So until then, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.